Body-worn camera (BWC) footage of Constable William Ringin. Part 1. This is a transcription of the events of the body-worn camera footage analyzed on a frame-by-frame basis. The body-worn camera footage of the body-worn camera worn by Constable William Ringin displays the following record of events. 0.10 Both the applicant's mother and son's heads are seen outside the window on the passenger side of the police vehicle. 0.31 Constable William Ringin exits the vehicle, and the 15-year-old autistic applicant is observed walking alone on the grass alongside the road where the officers had been driving following the two. 0.31 The applicant's mother is observed walking on the road having split from the 15-year-old autistic child in fear for her life after observing Constable William Ringin exiting the vehicle. 0.36 Senior Constable Rowan Baldham is observed attempting to communicate with the child's mother who suffers from a childhood trauma condition and is unwell suffering from multiple sclerosis. 0.38 The child's mother states, "I don't have to talk to you, I don't have a mask for a reason, I've got an exemption." 0.40 The child's mother then continues to state, "He's exempt, we're both exempt." 0.40 Constable William Ringin ignores that material fact provided to him and asks the 15-year-old autistic child, "Have you got a mask, mate?" The child ignores him as is his lawful right in the circumstances where 1. He has committed no offence, 2. He is not about to commit an offence, and 3. There is no indication that he is aware of an indictable offence which he has the capacity to assist Constable William Ringin with. 0.54 The applicant's mother turns and states, "We're exempt," which Constable William Ringin continued to ignore while Constable William Ringin body-worn camera footage displays him closing the distance between himself and the 15-year-old autistic child, therefore willingly and negligently in Mala 5 misconduct, breaching the Chief Health Officer's direction to social distance and the direction regarding those with exemptions, as both the applicant's mother and son are and were at the time of the incident, both medically exempt from wearing masks. 0.59 The applicant is observed being swung around by the aggressive and violent force of Constable William Ringin, who grabs the 15-year-old exempt child's arm in that manner, despite him having committed no offence and despite Constable William Ringin having facts to support the material fact that the 15-year-old autistic child was exempt from wearing a mask as per the Chief Health Officer's direction. Remember 0.59, because that is the time from which the 15-year-old autistic child was being unlawfully detained and having only momentarily returned to his home just after the incident in which his father's jaw was broken while he had been hit with the defense bat 7 times by Constable William Ringin. The 15-year-old autistic child was unlawfully detained throughout the afternoon, evening, overnight, and until the following day when he was released from the Warrnambool police cells, having been denied visits and a change of clothing to be delivered to the cells while he was unlawfully detained. 1.00 Constable William Ringin demands that the child stop, stating loudly to the child, "Stop." Confronting the child, breaching the social distancing requirement, while engaging in an aggravated assault in company against the child, who is clearly affronted by the act. 1.03 The 15-year-old autistic child states, "I'm not required to." 1.05 Constable William Ringin begins questioning the child who is being detained and being subjected to the unlawful deprivation of liberty and questioned against his will while not under a lawful arrest by Constable William Ringin. 1.05 The child's mother, clearly distressed, demands that Constable William Ringin leave him alone. 1.08 Senior Constable Rowan Baldham is seen in frame, breaching the Chief Health Officer's direction pertaining to social distancing while also participating in the unlawful deprivation of liberty of the child. 1.08 The 15-year-old autistic child then raises the walkie-talkie to his mouth. 1.15 The 15-year-old autistic child's mannerisms clearly display that he is distressed, also to the educated observer that he is autistic. 1.18 The child's mother is heard speaking on her walkie-talkie. 1.21 The 15-year-old autistic child cites the particulars of Section 117 subsection 3b of the Public Health and Wellbeing Act 2008 stating, "It has to be done under a person's name." It is to be noted that the Act holds that as per paragraph 3 of Section 117, a public health order must a. be in writing, b. identify the person to whom the order applies. 1.24 The body-worn camera footage shows that the street is empty of traffic, as is the case on most days in that part of Warrnambool, which is an outer area of a country town with limited through traffic. 1.27 One of the officers acknowledges that law by stating, "OK," before, while ignoring that law, continues unabated to badger and question the 15-year-old autistic child while engaging in the unlawful deprivation of liberty of the child. 1.29 Senior Constable Rowan Baldham, while breaching the Chief Health Officer's direction regarding social distancing and mask exemptions, then asked the child being subjected to the unlawful deprivation of liberty, "And what is your name, mate?" Therefore, breaching the very Section 456 AA, he proceeds to cite in that he did not have a material fact to support a reasonable belief that the child had committed an offence. 1.30 The 15-year-old autistic applicant politely responds by saying, "Pardon?" 1.32 Constable William Ringin then, while breaching the Chief Health Officer's direction regarding social distancing and mask exemptions, also asks what's your name. The restrained autistic child who had committed no offence being subjected to the unlawful deprivation of liberty at this time. 1.33 The 15-year-old autistic applicant politely responds by saying, I'm not required to tell you my name, as is his right in the circumstances to do. 1.37 Senior Constable Rowan Baldham then ignores the material fact provided to him by the 15-year-old autistic child's mother that they are exempt from wearing a mask. Then, while engaged in the unlawful deprivation of liberty of the child, states, okay, well, I believe you have committed an offence by not wearing a mask, so you're going to need to tell me your name. This of course being a breach of the Act which police rely upon to demand the name of a member of the public, also the authorities of George V Rocket and a DPP versus Hamilton. 1.39 The 15-year-old autistic applicant again politely responds by saying, I'm not required to tell you my name, as is his right in the circumstances to do. 1.41 The body-worn camera footage shows that there are no vehicles in the street except for the police vehicle. 1.41 Senior Constable Rowan Baldham replies, well, under 456 AA of the Crimes Act, mate, you are going to tell my name. Yes, he said that, however he probably meant to say, you are going to tell me your name, because I believe that you've committed the offence of failing to wear a mask in public in contravention of the Chief Health Officer's directions. 1.52 The 15-year-old autistic applicant again politely, while clearly under duress with strained voice and appearing to now hyperventilate from that stress, replies, I'm not required to wear a mask. 1.55 Senior Constable Rowan Baldham ignores that material fact and fails to ask the child whether he is autistic, and despite the laboured breathing whether the child suffers from asthma or other respiratory condition, and while unlawfully detaining the child who has not been provided a caution and is not under arrest, continues to demand the autistic child's name, asking, so what's your name, mate? 1.56 The 15-year-old autistic child again politely repeats his lawful response, I'm not required to wear a mask. 1.59 Senior Constable Rowan Baldham then, in opposition to the authority of DPP versus Hamilton, continues to question the unlawfully detained 15-year-old autistic child by making this unlawful demand of the child, tell me again why you're not required to wear a mask then, if that's what you want to talk about. This appears to be condescending behavior by Senior Constable Rowan Baldham, conduct of badgering the autistic child, which appears in addition to the aggravated assault perpetrated by Constable William Ringin on the child to be conduct in incitement of the commission of an offence, considering what occurred within moments of this unlawful detainment and repetitive questioning of the 15-year-old autistic child. 2.03 The 15-year-old autistic child now appearing to clearly be frustrated by the moronic repetitive questions of Senior Constable Rowan Baldham and of his blatant and deliberate ignorance of the material facts presented to him and of the law, again cites the particulars of Section 117 paragraph 3b, which he incorrectly cites as the Public Health and Safety Act in lieu of Public Health and Wellbeing Act, a simple error which an educated and properly trained law enforcement officer would recognize. The child states, under the Public Health and Safety Act, I'm not required, no, it has to be signed in someone's name. 2.12 Senior Constable Rowan Baldham acknowledges that response, saying, okay, before the autistic child continues, it has to be signed in someone's name. 2.16 Senior Constable Rowan Baldham again ignores the law and continues, so you're not wearing a mask. 2.19 The 15-year-old autistic child then politely interrupts, if you go to the Public Health and Safety Act. 2.23 Senior Constable Rowan Baldham responds, yeah? 2.24 The 15-year-old autistic child then politely continues, go to the Public Health and Safety Act, Victoria, it says it has to be signed in someone's name, it has to be signed in someone's name. This indisputable fact provided to Senior Constable Rowan Baldham by the 15-year-old home-schooled, Year 10 student is of course confirmed by going to the Public Health and Wellbeing Act 2008 Section 117 paragraph 3b. 2.30 Senior Constable Rowan Baldham responds, okay, alright, and then while ignoring this indisputable material fact, with a solid foundation in law, Senior Constable Rowan Baldham arrogantly continues while also demonstrating his woefully inadequate grasp of the English language with, look that's a bit of a semantics discussion about the law and how it works, and then while continuing to ignore the material facts before him and also by his own admission, ignoring the law and how it works, states, however I believe you've committed an offence, mate, and therefore I need for you to give me your name and address. 2.40 The 15-year-old autistic child then, in what appears to be a bewildered amazement at the obvious criminal and moronic persistence of Senior Constable Rowan Baldham to continue in his blatant criminal misconduct which has no foundation in law, is momentarily left speechless by this moronic display of belligerent law-breaking and predetermined ignorance of the law. The 15-year-old autistic child then repeats again, I am not required to tell you my name. The tone of the 15-year-old autistic child then appears to exhibit the first signs of frustration at the belligerent, predetermined ignorance that he is being subjected to while being unlawfully detained against his will at the will and whim of the clearly woefully inadequately trained state-sponsored terrorist, who is exhibiting conduct and behavior which displays an indisputable incapacity to perform the duties of a sworn police registration and services board member. It is noted that the authorities of George V Rocket and a DPP versus Hamilton do support this inalienable right with solid foundation in law, which the 15-year-old autistic child is asserting to Senior Constable Rowan Baldham whilst being subjected to unlawful detainment.